Hello there, I'm back again with another Flat Earth video, and this time it's back to our good old friend Russianvids, who is most likely going to be making a lot of stuff up. But I'm going to love seeing actual proof this time, and not just wild accusations and his opinions on how he thinks things should look like, and the fact that because he thinks it's fake, then it must be. But, you know, I'm not expecting anything different in this, but let's have a look anyway.
After I made that video of Scott Kelly supposedly returning from ISS.
Yeah, that's a video where Scott Kelly comes home, jumps into a swimming pool, and he thinks that it's a form of mockery because he thinks all spacewalks are filmed in a swimming pool. And he goes like, why does he go in the pool? Well, isn't he allowed to have a swimming pool in his home or not? I'm sorry, just because you don't think he should, you know, oh well, but, you know, keep on going.
Making his way back to Earth. So look again at this footage.
So this is the Soyuz detaching from the ISS and going into orbit.
Completely ridiculous.
Completely ridiculous. What about that looked ridiculous? What are you expecting to see?
Let's go back to this scene here. This is supposedly Earth.
No, it's not supposedly Earth. You've just made that up. That doesn't even look like Earth. Why are you doing that? It's, first of all, different colours of white. So I don't understand why you think that's Earth. You just made that up to actually to interject things into your own points.
Now, one thing I find interesting, I'll play this.
One thing he finds interesting. He loves using that phrase quite a lot.
For those that have not seen it, just take a look. Supposedly the Soyuz,
Not supposedly the Soyuz. He loves that word as well. But not supposedly Soyuz. It is the Soyuz.
Russian spacecraft supposedly returning back to Earth. And this symbolism here, all you do is flip this around.
Symbolism. It's something at the corner of the screen. Just because it's a triangle doesn't mean it's got anything to do with the Illuminati. So what? If it was a hexagon shape, you wouldn't really care. But because it's a triangle, because you and your, you know, bloody symbolism is so strong, you look for things that aren't there. But, you know, let's keep on going.
And all this is an Illuminati pyramid.
See? All this is. So because he thinks it is, then it must be that. I mean, geez, I got a couple of things in my room that got the shape of a, you know, triangle. It doesn't mean it was made and produced by the Illuminati.
All this is a complete joke if this is supposedly Earth. Let's just take a look at the footage.
It's not a joke, but you're a joke. I hate to be mean, but you kind of are.
Move it up a little bit. Complete garbage, like I stated before.
How is it garbage? Please state why. What are you expecting to see? What is the lack of things that makes you think it's a joke?
Can you see the Earth? Yes.
Looks like an Atari 2600 video game.
And as you can clearly see, the Soyuz is going behind this, which shows that it's something seemingly just blocking the camera in that corner.
And from that Soyuz looking like that, and then they bring it to this footage of this parachute supposedly returning to Earth.
Not supposedly turning to Earth, it is turning to Earth.
But what happened to the Soyuz itself? Does it just disintegrate? Give me a break.
What don't you understand about that? It burnt up on re-entry. There are actually quite a lot of videos on there that show the re-entry of spacecrafts and showing bits burning up. But, never mind, you just ignore those just to prove your points.
Now, again, talking about the footage of this supposed Earth, like I said.
That's not Earth. It's quite obvious that's not Earth. You're making it up now.
This is nothing more than mockery. Complete
And you're just making it up.
joke.
You're the joke.
Let's look at some footage here from supposedly aboard the
See, the word supposed again. He loves it.
ISS. Let's compare the distance and what this is supposed to be Earth.
No, it's not supposed to be Earth. Like I've said, it's plainly obvious that it's not.
To this footage here.
And that's a lovely that's a lovely image. But obviously you don't.
See a difference? Let's take a look. How do you go from this? This is fake, by the way, as well.
Yeah, he says it's fake based on nothing, just because he wants it to be fake, obviously.
Well,
There you go. Right now
here's
we're right
the
over Africa.
Soyuz
It's a
right
little
here
bit
they're going to show.
cloudy, as you can tell. But we're right over the continent of Africa. Hey, what's that? I think that's a Soyuz spacecraft.
This is what they supposedly used to return.
See, the word supposedly again. He really loves that word. He must have slammed his head with a dictionary.
To Earth. So how do they go from this vantage point right above Earth to this garbage? Unbelievable.
It's just zoomed in. Things don't automatically get clearer when you zoom in. That's why it looks the way it does.
And again, it's all mockery. You know, I mean, why would they be this far? Why would they make it this difficult for themselves to travel this great distance in this vantage point when they could be supposedly right above Earth and go straight down?
Right. There's so much wrong here because you think that vantage point, so you're saying to me that just in this vantage point they're not over the Earth anymore? No, they're in a different orbit. They're just further away. They're still over Earth, obviously. Okay? And the simple fact of the matter is, they don't just detach and drop straight down and hope for the best. Why, they just think, well, let's drop straight down. If we land in the middle of a city, sorry in advance. No, they go into an orbit, a controlled orbit, and they re-enter when it's in the correct time. So basically they can land where they need to. That's why they land where they do. There's not that many people around. Well, you really think it's going to be safe for them to just re-enter and people, in New York City look up and go, holy shit. No, just think about things. I mean, this video here demonstrates it quite clearly.
But because of their now differences. In both cases, after one revolution of the Earth, the orbits intersect, but because of their now different velocities, the station and the Soyuz arrive at the intersection point at different times. This prevents any possibility of a collision between the two vehicles.
Okay, that showed that concept. See, there are videos out there. Just go and look for them.
And go straight down. So again, it's all about mockery. Just a little inside joke on the masses, again, with this Illuminati pyramid.
No, you're the joke on the masses, to be quite honest with you.
Basically sideways.
Basically sideways? Huh? It's something blocking the camera in that corner. Stop making rubbish up, please.
The graphics here reminds me of Atari 20.
Graphics? It's just because they've zoomed out far, or zoomed in. Things don't all, looking at something in a distance. I don't understand your concept of CGI. Just because CGI exists doesn't mean that they are definitely using it.
2600, just take a look at this from Atari 2600 Indiana Jones. This is what it reminds me of. This kind of garbage graphics. Now, talking about space and the conditioning and programming, like I've said so many times, we live on a flat earth under a dome. Now, this is what they give us back in the 80s. The planting the seed in the minds about space with Space Invaders.
Yes, that's the name of the game. And they name it that way because there's invaders coming from space. The clue's in the title.
And that's what it's all about. Just take a listen to this old commercial back from the 80s about Space Invaders. Just listen to what this man says. I find this pretty interesting.
See? Interesting. Pretty interesting. He finds everything interesting, I swear to God.
Out here we entertain ourselves at home. So we got an Atari video game. There's so many different games to play. We especially like Space Invaders. Zapping those little devils from outer space. It's the whole idea of creatures from outer space is a little far-fetched.
All about the thought of the alien invasion. I'll get into that in a little bit. Just taking a look again at the front cover of Space Invaders. It's called a game program. Basically, it's all about programming the youth.
I like the fact that you gave yourself a little laugh there, knowing that you just thought of that on the top of your head. Programming the masses. It's called a game program. The program, that runs things. It's nothing to do about psychological programming, like a TV program, radio program. Geez, just stop making stuff up.
That's what it's all about. Just take a look at some other titles here, like Defender. Again, it's all about an alien invasion.
Yes, because that was a cool story at the time.
And interesting enough, again, this man calls them little devils from outer space.
Well, you're just thinking that symbolism again without really looking into it. I mean, geez, little devils, like sometimes your parents will call you a little devil because, you're being naughty, or, those little devils outside are causing trouble. It's just a phrase. It's a term. The guy uses creatures from space later. And also this guy states, that aliens from outer space were far-fetched. That's because, yeah, we knew about space, but the concept of aliens still seemed kind of, unimportant at the time, and people still didn't really believe they were aliens anyway. We did think, due to our self-importance, that we were the only life anyway. But, so we just keep on going here, and it's unbelievable. I can't keep on doing this to myself. I gotta stop it.
There are no aliens. Aliens are just demons. So they're making that connection for you as well.
Aliens are just demons. So they're making the connection. No, you yourself, Russianvids, are making that connection. You're so hyped up on symbolism and things that you're just seeing things that aren't really there.
As a form of mockery, Demon Attack as well. It's about Space Invaders.
Thinking about what it would really be like if aliens from outer space invaded Earth.
And there you go. That's the whole concept behind it.
Yeah, it's what you do in the game. Like, basically, if the game was us being attacked by a rabid herd of man-eating cows, it'll have the same kind of thing, just to make a game out of it. It's just what they think would be the game at the time. It's just, it's an idea, it's a concept. And this being the 80s, they wouldn't have had the graphics at the time to do anything other than this. Stop thinking that there's something there that isn't, Russianvids, honestly.
Just other games based around space.
Yes, other games based around space. Like there were other games based around racing, other games based around shooting, other games based around, I don't know, exploring. Space was just an idea at the time. It was interesting, it was fresh, it was new, which is why they used it.
Called Starship. Of course, a game.
Yes, because starships are in space.
Game program.
Yes, game program. It's a program. You run a program.
They even have pigs in space.
That was funny. It's just pigs in space because, as you can clearly tell, this is the story that they were going with.
Space Jockey.
Yes, another name about space. What is your connection here?
Now you tell these people who grew up in the 80s about space. They're playing Defender here. Tell them we live on a flat Earth with a dome. After playing games like this, watching movies about space, going to school and learning all about space science, NASA, of course they're going to believe they've been programmed.
I'm 26, okay? I've been in school and university for many years now. And not once have I learned space science or have been taught about NASA. Space science or astrophysics, that's quite a specialised course. That's something they don't teach you willy-nilly in just science classes. You're just making things up now about this whole brainwashing thing that just clearly does not make sense.
In every aspect of their lives.
Next, I'm gonna wonder that you didn't make any connections with the number 7 here in his shirt, because 777, Illuminati and devils and things like that. But see, this guy's got 3 lines. 3 lines and a 7. 777. See, I made a connection there that you missed. But, never mind. See, you're not that smart, are you, Russianvids?
Everybody's seen this game, I'm sure, that's grew up in the 80s. It's called Super Breakout. Just take a look at this.
Yeah, I remember this game. It was, simple but fun.
Game. It's basically just a paddle hitting a ball against basically a wall. Now here is the cover. Again, more programming. Super Breakout, what do they have? Astronauts. What do astronauts have anything to do with this game?
Yeah, but again, what's your point? They wanted something to put on the cover. And they chose astronauts. Because, blackness of space, colours and things, something new and fresh. They use astronauts in space. But in this sort of game, what has this game got to do about anything? This game doesn't represent anything we do in real life, so what could they use? Fast cars, maybe, a beautiful woman on there, maybe, You know, a cityscape, underwater. They could have used that, but they decided to use space because it was just cooler. You know, I don't understand where you're going with this. It's meaningless.
With this ball being hit, and when you go see, you have Exevius, the same thing with space, with these UFOs.
Yes, space was an idea of stories and games. Like, there were racing games, and exploring games, and shooting games. You know, and art games where you can draw stuff. There were loads of games back then, not just space.
So again, every aspect.
Space was just a cool idea for a cool story so they could make new gameplay and fresh ideas from.
Of our lives.
Not every aspect of your life. So, you know, when I walk into McDonald's, I'm being brainwashed about space, am I? When I walk into the grocery store and look at a giant watermelon, that's supposed to symbolise the Earth or something, is it? So you're just making stuff up now, aren't you?
On to the 90s. Take a look at Space Ace. You see the Illuminati pyramid, those behind the scenes, these companies.
See, now he's really making stuff up. It's a triangle, a pyramid shape. It's their logo. Aren't they allowed to use things like that? Jeez.
I find this interesting as well. It's 14 levels of laser lunacy.
Well, laser lunacy, you know, laser guns, lunacy might mean stupid, but lunacy might mean crazy and out of this world. No pun intended.
I find that interesting. The fact that those that know about the occult of 33, LL is 33. So again.
Oh my God. I mean, come on, Russianvids. Does the concept of coincidence mean nothing to you? I mean, today coming back from work, I work in a grocery store, okay? Today coming back from work, I gave 2 people in a row £6.66 change. 666. I gave somebody at one point £7.77 change. I gave somebody 169p change. Many of those terms, you know? They're just coincidences, nothing more. Like, I walked back from my university at one point and there were 666 parking spaces available in a big parking complex. You know, the concept of just coincidence just means nothing to you, does it? But, you know, whatever makes you happy, I guess.
Every aspect. And they're telling you who's behind the scenes.
They're not telling you, well, they are telling you who's behind the scenes because they're telling you who makes the game. It's their logo. It's got nothing to do with the Illuminati.
You know, with this programming, with these video games. You know, again, as I mentioned many times, movies, video games, people let their guard down and don't realize what's taking place. And I find this...
Let their guard down and they don't realize what's taking place. It's a movie. It's a game. You don't get brainwashed by it. I don't play, you know, let's say, you know, Star Wars Battlefront, and I play it and then think it's real.
Photo interesting as well with Steven Spielberg with his own Space Invaders. And he knows what this is all about. Talking about
Steven Spielberg and Space Invaders, yes, because space was a big thing back then. Like with Star Wars and many other things. So he's got a space game. What's that supposed to show?
Big space. Here is an interesting clip played many times in the past in my previous channel with Ronald Reagan talking about a potential for an alien invasion. This is going to be used, I believe, in the future to basically create the New World Order with the fake alien invasion. Take a listen.
Perhaps we need some outside universal threat. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
And there you go. Just like I stated.
Well, he's just stating a point, which is quite true. Like, we all, you know, there's conflict around the world. And it might take something outside of this planet to bring us all together. Like, let's say in countries, let's say people in Britain, Wales, Northern Ireland, Scotland and England. We're quite separated when it comes to things. We have conflicts with others, mostly just joking. But if the security of our country is threatened, we pull together. So what would happen if security of the entire world from an outside force was threatening the security of our planet? We'd all pull together. That's the concept here.
The game Space Invaders, and that's what it's all about.
It's not about the game. He was talking about a real kind of, situation, or kind of a theory what he thinks would bring the world together.
Programming.
No, it's a game program. You make things on programs. You play programs. You use programs.
And interesting enough, as Ronald Reagan is speaking about a potential alien invasion uniting the world, what is right above him? A representation of the flat Earth. This is how...
That's not the representation of the flat Earth. Give me a break with this whole thing.
The so-called elite love to mock, as I mentioned so many times.
They're not mocking. It's just the United Nations logo.
There's more recently with the Pope and the UN logo, which again, as I mentioned, and many people know.
No. Okay. First of all, that's not the flat Earth map. It's a projection of the globe. It's not your flat Earth map at all. None whatsoever. But you keep on making a connection that's not there. I looked into the UN logo. What they wanted was essentially basically a logo that would show the entire world in one image. Now they can't put the globe on there because that means only a certain content will show up at a certain angle. They let's just say if it was just North America and South America on the image, there could be a bit of favoritism going on there. So they looked, and they couldn't just put, let's say, a normal square map in, because that's just kind of bland and boring. So they used the equidistant projection of it that just shows everything at once. It's just quite that simple. I mean, think about certain things. It shows the whole world, there we are. I don't understand where everything's coming from with you. This was just an idea. They came up with the idea.
Nothing more than the flat Earth model. Again,
it's not the flat Earth model. It's not even a flat Earth map. It's what flat earthers use as a kind of proof of concept, which hasn't been proven yet, even though they think it has been.
All in plain sight, as usual.
In plain sight? What? They wanted to make a UN logo and then hide it from everybody?
Space, the final frontier.
Space may be the final frontier, but it's made in a Hollywood basement.
Yeah, that's just a song. That was just a song, probably using inspirations of conspiracies. I don't know what the lyrics are, but, hey. But, that's me again. Hopefully I might make another video at some point. I am planning on making a video on what exactly I think of this whole flat Earth society and people like Jeranism and Mark Sargent and Eric Dubé and all these kind of people, and exactly what I think of those people and exactly what I think about the whole thing in general. But that'll be a video for another time. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this video, and good night.